Everyone, I'm Alberto from the Unstoppable Creator, and with me today we have Benjamin. Antoine. I think it's the French pronunciation, right?
Exactly, yes.
Benjamin is with me for the second time because last time my phone died. I discovered that the live streaming causes overheating, and to prevent further of it overheating, charging stops. So my battery was falling down very quickly, and today I removed the case, which was increasing the heating of the smartphone, and I have a 100% battery, so I hope we can go on for at least half an hour. That said, welcome, Benjamin, and thank you for being so gracious and trying again. Uh,
Of course.
Tell us something about what you do as a creator, and then we will go on and understand more about you and about how you work mainly.
Yeah, sure, of course. So you may know me or you may not. From the 2 Hour Creators Stack. That's the newsletter that I write on Substack. And yeah, my newsletter is really about, I call it anti-productivity and pro-creativity. So it's more about trying to find the balance between productivity and creativity. That's kind of the things that I explore there. How to reach your goals and how to get stuff done without burning out or without sort of getting too intense or going too crazy. I am doing this part time, so I have a full time job. So this is kind of like my creative side hustle on the side. And so that's also a little bit of a challenge trying to find the time and the space and the mental energy to yeah, get it done and sort of get something out that I'm proud of and that I sort of think is worth sharing. So that's kind of what the 2 Hour Creator is about.
Thank you. But you were a creator before Substack, and you are still publishing videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
More about your experience as an Englishman in Germany.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so my and actually you have another publication on Substack under another profile name, right?
Yes, you've been doing your research.
Yeah, it was strange because I searched for your name, and I landed on a page I never saw, and I realized you had two profiles, and so the let's start from uh, the thing you the most important obstacle to your growth, to your creativity, which is writing, creating as a part-time creator.
Mhm.
You are running both the two Substack publications and your YouTube channel.
Mhm.
So tell us how, when you create, how does your typical day look like?
Yeah, my process. Yeah. So I started the YouTube channel about 3 years ago now. That was sort of my first foray into the creator economy, if you want to call it that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so, I started watching quite a lot of YouTube during lockdown, as I think many other people did. And I sort of really got interested in a few different creators that I was watching at the time and just thought, maybe, I could do something like that, or this looks cool, let's give it a go. And so that was basically when I started that. So I had quite a lot more time because I wasn't able to work. I was on furlough at the time. So I had to stay at home, as many of us did. And so it started out of that, basically, because I had quite a lot of time. But then things started up. I went back to work and I had to reduce the amount of videos that I was publishing. So I started with 2 a week, which is really a lot. And so now I'm only doing like one a month, because otherwise it's very difficult to, creating videos is really time consuming. That's one of the things I love about Substack is that it's much easier just to create if you're only writing rather
Yeah.
than filming and editing and doing all of putting all of that stuff together. So yes, I have the YouTube channel and a newsletter attached to that. And the YouTube channel and that newsletter is really purely for my own personal creative expression, I would say. So I started that really just with the desire to like, yeah, explore my creativity and self-expression. I had no other real goal with that. But the YouTube channel has grown a fair amount, and I'm getting a lot of content, a lot of interest from potential sponsors. So
Hmm.
probably like emails almost every day from people wanting to sponsor me or send me
Great.
free stuff. A lot of it is just, garbage basically, but there are also a lot of reputable brands who I actually know and I worked with. Even my own bank reached out to me to sponsor one of my videos. So that's quite exciting. I've only really just started doing that. And I'm sort of getting into the process of working with brands. It is, it's another sort of challenge in itself,
Yeah.
kind of it kind of takes the focus off personal expression and creativity a little bit, because you really have to
Mm.
get into then like negotiation and communication, lots of emails back and forth, signing contracts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But so I'm just like slowly getting into that side of things with the channel
Yeah,
and
and
the
you
new.
can make good money on YouTube, even without too many views or too many subscribers. I was when we crossed 10,000. I have a YouTube channel in Italian, and when we crossed 10,000 subscribers, we started getting. Um, uh, s- uh, s- I got a few sponsorship requests, and it was easy to sell a video for $300, but I don't spend a day to do a video. So it's a good hourly pay for me, at least for my kind of video.
Okay, yeah, not bad.
So instead, talking about writing, when we tried the first time with this interview, you said that basically you in the morning when you wake up you maybe scroll your Substack feed, answer some comments, and write or think about what you write. Is the early morning the best time for you to write?
Yes, definitely. So I'm a morning person. I don't have much energy or attention in the evening or afternoon. So I really have to make use of the hours in the morning. Yeah, exactly. That's best for me.
And I see that possibly all your articles are about your ideas, what you think. They are not technical tutorials or I don't know listicles just for the sake of getting some views. And I guess um, your process is a process of writing, to thinking by writing. And so I was wondering, we all go through the same process. We have ideas, we choose an idea, and then in some way we write. Maybe we outline or we write and rewrite lots of times. What is your process, starting from how do you get your ideas and how do you choose the right idea? Because I had a subscriber asked in a conversation last week, I think. He told me that he was having a hard time choosing the right idea to for the next article. So how do you go from idea to the right idea and to then the drafting and editing?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. It's always a little tricky to know exactly or to like guarantee beforehand if the idea is going to be good.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, maybe I use a little bit of my YouTube experience when writing articles. So basically, before I write anything, I think about the title. So I try to think of how I want to frame the topic, because that for me is really the most important thing. You can come at a topic from, 100 different angles, and that's really what I spend my most of the time on, is thinking about titles. I kind of oscillate between research and just, I don't know, coming up with it internally. So at the beginning, when I was first starting, I did, of course, check Medium and Twitter, and I was, researching what kind of titles or what kind of topics do well. But I found that it was always pretty much the same, especially on Medium. It's just, this obvious
Absolutely.
titles. It's like, how to get 10,000 subscribers in 2 weeks or whatever. It's kind of plays on that, and these a lot of them seem very search based. And I also made a bit of a switch on YouTube to completely forget about search. And
Okay.
basically, with my titles, I'm trying to speak to the emotions of people.
Okay.
Is kind of my goal is to make the other person feel something, rather
Mhm.
like teaching something technical or teaching a specific topic. I'm trying to, yeah, tap into a feeling, which means that you often have to think long and hard about, yeah, the title and the topic and how to frame that exactly, so that it comes across in a specific way. So I would say, the ideas that I have, I've been in this, I've been a consumer for a very long time in this space, in like self development and productivity and stuff. So maybe I've kind of developed a bit of a feeling about what
Mhm.
thing could be popular. So I would say that's one of the first things, is really you have to be a consumer first. You have to really read and watch and be quite deeply in the space to know what's popular, so that you can maybe disprove or go against the popular advice.
Mhm.
To like
Yeah.
make seen it 100 times to be able to kind of go against it or write something a little bit contrarian. So that's one thing, is just to be consuming a lot. And other than that, of course, I look and do a little bit of research and see what's performing well, what seems to be getting attraction, and try to give my own spin on popular topics.
But it doesn't look like you study what works just to imitate it and to ride the wave.
Mm.
So, what do you mean when you say study what if I look at your publication, I see that you talk about, for example, creativity and productivity, but the angle is totally different. So, maybe you already mentioned it. You find strong or very popular topics, but then uh, uh, go think what you have to say that about it that's different from the average, I think, or from the mainstream. Is this
Yeah,
your
so basically, a lot of my stuff is experience based. It's not like
point?
evidence or science based. So
Yeah.
I'm sharing my own personal experience. So the reason I landed on productivity is that I used to be very like, sort of hustle porn. I used to be really into working very hard and, getting a good feeling about being extremely conscientious and hardworking. I mean, I still am to a certain extent, but um, that was the reason that I bought into the usual sort of productivity advice and culture that's out there. But I found, like, over the years, my personal experience was that the majority of this advice wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
Like, the more work, the harder I was working, the more output, the more time I was putting into trying to achieve things, like the less progress I was noticing. And I noticed this with the YouTube channel. So, like I said, I started trying to publish 2 videos a week because that's what everyone was saying. You have to do at least 1 video a week if you want to
Yeah.
grow. Like 1 video minimum if you really want to grow fast. You need to be publishing 2 or 3 per week. And this really was not sustainable for me, even without working. Like, even before I went back to work, it was really a struggle to come up with ideas and get that out to a level that I wanted. And maybe it was just with time and experience, but now that I'm doing one a month, my videos are getting a lot more views and attention, and the quality of the comments is
This
better
is
in some ways. And
so.
so that's what I found through my experience, that going, slowing down and doing less brought more results for me.
So, did you see? Did you see something measurable that some measurable consequence from that came from slowing down that improved your? If you look at one of your current videos and compare it to when you were doing 2 videos per week,
Mhm.
what differences do you see?
But apart from the metrics, like the views and the number of
No, no,
comments,
in the content itself. So in what you produced and what you put into the video.
yeah, I think maybe the thing is the idea, the concept, and the packaging. So I've just spent more time thinking about the idea that I want to express and how to express that. Like, if you're trying to pump out 2 to 3 videos a week, you don't have that much time to really think about the idea that you want to sort of develop, delve into, and you don't have much time to think about, to try out 100 different titles and think about which one makes the most sense and which could get the most traction.
Yeah,
And so I think that was a lot of it. Like, my articles that I write on my Substack, I write over the course of 1 to 2 weeks, and I could write them a lot quicker, but I just
yeah,
like having the time to sort of, contemplate and think and change a word here and there, and just make subtle changes. And that's just what works for me. I like to have the time to really just sort of um, yeah, go over it and edit it again. I know a lot of people would see that as like perfectionism masquerading as procrastination. Maybe it is, but I set myself the goal of publishing 2 articles a month, and that seems to be working very well for me. So I think everyone has their own kind of cadence, what works well for
yeah.
them. For me, one a week is almost a little bit too much on top of YouTube and the second Substack and the full time job. So that's what I found was good for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that for me is absolutely yeah, vital when you
Mhm.
want to uh, when you decide to follow, when you choose what advice to follow, so what
Mhm.
tips to implement as regards productivity, growth tactics, everything. The what I like about your what I see in your Substack publication, but also your YouTube channel, is that you slow down, you spend more time on your content,
Mhm.
and you get better results because you are are getting very good engagement on Substack.
Mhm.
Sometimes growth may be um, random because you strike you are very maybe the algorithm rewards you for
Mhm.
no reason. And but when people read your articles and then leave comments, and they're not just a good article. You probably are using your time well. You are effectively um deepening your thoughts and going deeper with your ideas and maybe
Mm.
saying something more valuable for people. Uh, and we jumped from YouTube and Substack and YouTube again, but I think it's the same. We are not changing topics because the process applies to every kind of content, every platform. Um, you are also publishing. We have talked about long form content until now, but
Mhm.
you are also publishing a short form on Substack. You are also publishing notes, and some of them got very high numbers.
Mhm.
And what's your approach with short form content? Because some people use it just as a marketing tool. They make their templates or their repurposing process and keep churning uh, dozens of notes every month. You use them more to share your ideas or
Mhm.
your immediate thoughts. What's your process for short form content?
Yeah, sure. So, just quickly to the two. So, I have two publications. The one publication that is attached to my YouTube channel, I'm not writing any shorts there whatsoever. Don't post on notes. And I'm not really growing with that newsletter. The only subscribers that come in are through YouTube. And
Okay.
so this is an observation that I made when I first started. Um, I thought, let's give Notes a go to try and grow, like as a growth engine,
Yeah.
because we don't have any traffic coming from any other site for the 2 Hour Creator. It's purely Substack internal. The only way that I'm growing it is through Substack
Yeah.
internally. And obviously, everyone knows there's recommendations, there's notes, there's guest posts and cross posts. And I've tried basically all of these things to see like which is the best for me. Where do I see the growth coming from? Recommendations is bringing me a little bit of growth, but really it's not very much.
Ah, okay.
No. So my growth is coming through notes. So that's part of the reason that I'm doing it is really just to grow because it's amazing distribution. I've had, I think, at least 10 notes that have gotten over 4,000 likes, and
Mm.
Substack tells me that the impressions are like over 100,000 impressions. I don't know if that's true or not. So
Yeah.
that's really a lot of reach, which is why I've been very consistent with that, posting at least 2 to 3 notes per day. Uh,
Ah,
and I post my own notes. I see a lot of people restacking or like posting other people's stuff. This is really nice. The problem with this is that when you go onto somebody's profile and you kind of want to get an idea of who they are or what their message is, uh,
ah,
mainly restacks, it's very difficult to like connect with the person because you don't really know exactly what they are saying themselves or what they themselves think. So I would say the number one reason why I'm doing notes is for growth, because it's very, very good organic growth at the moment. Who knows how long this will
yeah.
keep going on for. But apart from that, it is also, I've written a few notes about how writing is like therapy for me. So that is also part of it. Part of the reason I write generally is it's very therapeutic for me. Like it helps me to think, it helps me to organize my thoughts and to structure my thinking. And shorts is kind of a way of doing that. Obviously, long form is much better for that. But yeah, I don't know if I have a particular strategy with notes. I try to mix it, post a mixture of just like personal thoughts is kind of one category. Another category is basically taken from my long form. So I just copy a few
Ah,
sentences from my long form posts. I don't restack them. If you restack, they just get zero engagement. So
yeah.
yeah, copy them out and write that as a note separately.
Yeah.
Um, and another sort of idea is to try to yeah, write something that's maybe kind of helpful or share
Mhm.
something that has helped me with the writing journey.
But you basically write them in the moment. You don't have this large um, archive of ideas for notes and then distribute them through the week.
I do that as well. Actually, some
Oh.
members just ask a question. I'll just quickly. She
How
said,
often
"Now
do you?
you
Yeah,
repost the same note or a slightly changed note?" Yeah. So one thing that I do is I restack my own notes.
yeah.
Often a couple of hours after I've posted them, because this does seem to help to boost them. It gets shown then to other people. But just on your note of having, I do have like a Notion spreadsheet, Notion template where I capture my ideas and my thoughts. So if I really like wake up in the morning and I have like zero inspiration, then yeah, I'll just take a note that I got from, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago that I noted down and thought, that could be an interesting idea. And then I'll just post that. Yeah. So that's a good point. I didn't really think about that. No, I do have a lot of material because I take notes basically every day. So I have a huge file of just basically ideas or sort of partly written notes or notes which are not quite 100% there yet. So I always have something to work with. I never start from like a blank page.
So you always have a subroutine in the back of your mind that thinks about your publication and processes your day and your learnings, maybe.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's true. It's kind of going on subconsciously in the back of my mind, which I think is important. You know, if you have a goal or you have something you want to achieve, it's always good to have it like top of mind. You know,
Yeah.
it takes time, like to come up with ideas and articulate them, and it's like it's a process, a constant process of refinement and thinking and rewriting and thinking again. At least that's how I've, yeah.
So if you have questions for Benjamin, he will be with us for just a few minutes more. So put them in the chat. And I was thinking about AI now, artificial intelligence. Does it has it a place in your process? Artificial intelligence, any use of artificial intelligence for you?
Yes, yeah. So up until now, I've been using stock photos for my publications,
Oh.
but I noticed that a lot of people, or some other people, were using the same images that no, everyone gets on the same site, and this, yeah, I just realized this is not so good. You know, I need to try and differentiate myself. So I have been using DALI, you know, ChatGPT's image
Oh.
generator. I've been playing around with that. I'm finding it quite frustrating because I still can't quite get my vision to materialize. But I think it just takes a lot of practice. You know, it requires you to really just spend a bit of time thinking about how to formulate, how to prompt, and I created one image. My last article was created with DALI, and I'm going to be using it more in the future for sure. So yeah, that's going to be, I think, more and more. ChatGPT, I also use for like title inspiration. So I will come up with my own title, but I will always run it through ChatGPT to like just see if there's another way
Oh.
you could formulate this. If there's maybe
And
another
how do
thing.
you do it? Because for titles, I don't know. I use it, but usually I take just maybe a word or a rephrasing, but only for part of my title. How do you get something useful for your titles from ChatGPT?
So often I'll just copy in my title and ask ChatGPT
Yeah.
to give me 10 alternatives. So just
Okay.
like with no other details. And then
You
depending on
don't take your article or tell what it is about.
No, so that's like the first step, just to see what it throws out. And then I'll give maybe more detailed prompts if it's not really understanding what I want. And so often I'll spend maybe 10 or 15 minutes doing that, and there's nothing of value that
That's
comes
a lot
out.
of time. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. And but sometimes it really does actually help a lot. I think I used it for, I don't know, that article on productivity, I think, escaping the productivity trap, something like that. I think I used ChatGPT to help me come up with that title.
Did
Because,
you find some pattern, something you have to ask that gives you better titles, usually, or not, or is it different every time?
it's different every time, I would say. I mean, I have tried the very detailed prompts, telling them who the target audience is and what the pain points are and what emotions I want to evoke. But it tends to get a little bit convoluted and very long. And
Mm.
I think it's just good for like inspiration. So I might not take what it suggests, but it will make me think of something else.
It's
And
prompting you.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And I think usually if you were in like a team or a group, you would do this with other people. You would discuss it, brainstorm, bounce ideas off each other. But if you're, alone sitting in your room and there's no one else to help you,
It's a common problem. Yeah.
yeah, then this it's useful for that for sure. Like it definitely, you can use it as a collaborator for that kind of thing. And sometimes it's good, sometimes not, but I think it is a good idea to just familiarize yourself with it and give it a go. Yeah.
And do you use it for editing, ChatGPT?
No, for editing, somehow it's not. I've tried it, but it's no. I find I need to edit it myself. It's probably better for like creating a rough draft or something, but editing, I do that myself because I find editing extremely therapeutic. Again,
Mm.
like, I'm not very, I'm not efficient with editing, but I just get a lot of value of reading it over and over again and thinking about making a change here or there. So editing, I think, is something that I would never outsource because number one, I kind of enjoy it. And number two, I think the edit is where you really bring out your personality because that's where you just make changes like you change maybe a word or a phrase or a sentence to make it sound how you want it to sound. And so I think editing with text, but also with videos, is really where the magic happens, in my opinion.
I understand. I read about some people that use um, ChatGPT or Claude to like a sparring partner when they think, and they ask it to find weak points in the reasoning, or there are many ways. Obviously, you can use them. And I was thinking that since your process involves a lot of thinking, maybe it would be a good experiment before writing using AI, or before having the final article, the final version of the article, maybe involving ChatGPT as a sparring partner. And about images, I think I find Leonardo AI much better than
Okay.
Dali, and it's free.
Mhm.
Every day you have a few credits. With it doesn't take hundreds iterations of your prompt to get a good image. So
Leonardo. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
Leonardo.ai. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Okay. Yeah. Earlier you said, and then I will let you go. You said that you spend a lot of time consuming because it feeds your thinking, your ideas.
Mhm.
Uh, so how long do you spend consuming, and how do you choose? How do you find um, good sources of content? Because it's after after some time, after you've been spending years consuming,
Mhm.
things start repeating, and you don't get enough new ideas. So, how do you choose, and how long do you spend on your on the content you consume?
Yeah, so I would say my kind of method of content is podcasts. So I listen to a lot of audio stuff, podcasts mainly, for the nonfiction stuff. So, I probably most of the podcasts that everyone else listens to. Um, so the usual kind of popular ones, like Modern Wisdom or Diary of a CEO, those kind of things. Those are for more general kind of self-development, kind of personal development stuff. I do, when it comes to reading, I actually read, I try to read fiction.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
find that it is very important to keep reading a fiction. Even if you're not writing fiction or that's not your niche, I just think it's just there's a different quality to it, and it really helps to, for me at least, it really helps to improve my creativity and my imagination and just thinking like outside of the box. Um, I really like science fiction and fantasy. That kind of, yeah, it's like it's amazing how people come up with these worlds and these and you can really use that in whatever you're writing. Like, I think, regardless of what the topic is, just the ideas or the concepts, or kind of work out how this person came up with this idea. So that's something which is quite good, because maybe not everyone is reading fiction. And so maybe that's one way to get new ideas. I do also think that books are just, yeah, books are just there's somehow better quality, because somebody's really spent a lot of time thinking about this and put a lot of effort into it. There's been edits, there's been checks, it's been run through like multiple people, and so I do tend to think that it's good. It's not a good idea to stop reading books, because I think there's just more value in them than there than there is in like a podcast or an article, which somebody may have just written in a few minutes or a few hours. There's not the level of depth that goes into writing a book.
the problem sometimes is with the non-fiction books, because
Mhm.
yeah, you get a lot of books that haven't the author hasn't spent that much time on them, probably, and they are just regurgitating the same things. But yeah, when it comes to fiction, it possibly it's different. It's more often you get a work of love. Yeah, and
Mhm.
do you have some favorite author for fiction?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm reading Red Rising. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah, I read it a couple of years ago. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you read
great.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And other than that, what am I reading at the moment? I'm just trying to think. I'm pulling a bit of a blank, but really enjoyed reading things like, I read a lot of the books before they came series or films, like Lord of the Rings or The Hunger Games, or those kind of sort of epic sagas that are now very popular. But those kind of things I read before they were published as movies or films, and yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there to be found, especially like Lord of the Rings from Tolkien. Um, there's so much symbolism and hidden meanings, and a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that you can read between the lines with that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you have been very generous with your time and everything you shared. And so thank you. And I'm happy we we got
We
to
did
the
it.
end of
Yeah.
the interview. It will be the recording will be published. I think. Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow I will
Mhm.
be publish it. I will publish it, and I invite people to subscribe to your publication, to our creator, and invite and push you to launch your first product. We were talking about behind the scenes.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
do you have a parting uh, quote or tip or anything you want to leave our audience with?
Hmm. That's an interesting question. I think I think I would say, or just from my personal experience, I think the temptation is always to think that you need to do more and you need to force yourself to just keep going, to show up, to keep at it. But often I find the opposite is what brings the results. So taking a step back, maybe doing less, taking the time to really think about the idea and the strategy and what you're trying to achieve and where you want to go. Take your time. There's no rush with speed, I would say. Yeah.
A very counterintuitive suggestion, at least nowadays. So thank you again. Thank you to everyone who joined us, and I hope maybe we chat again in a few months
Yeah.
and see
Oh,
how things have evolved.
yeah. Look
Thank
forward.
you.
All right. Thanks a lot. Have a good evening.
Bye. Good evening.
Bye.
Bye.